DNS, which is called as domain name system. Say for example, when you type any website on your browser like google.com, okay, or like facebook.com, okay, or youtube.com. So do you think this complete text will be carry forwarded till the Google server, or the facebook.com website name will be taken forwarded to the Facebook server which is in US or UK or anywhere? It doesn't go that way. Okay, as say for example, if you consider this example only, okay, what happens when you type YouTube on your system? Okay, as soon as the youtube.com packet you have typing, it is going to get converted to some numbers, okay, to IPs. We call it as IP. So that part will be carry forwarded. Okay, this is not getting carried forwarded. This will get translated from a name to a IP address. So basically DNS is nothing but it is mapping of these. This is called domain name. Okay, mapping of domain names with IP address. Okay, your computer doesn't understand what is YouTube. It only understand what is the IP behind YouTube. Okay, so it might look little surprising if you are very new to this world, networking world. So let me show you some real test here. Okay, so I was talking about YouTube. Okay, so if I do this command ns lookup youtube.com, so this is the IP address of YouTube server. Okay, and if I just ping YouTube, so do we have a IP address? Okay, so isn't it very strange? I am pinging YouTube. It should have showed me YouTube everywhere, but it is showing me some IP address. That means this domain name was mapped with this IP address in case of YouTube. Okay, similar way, if I ping Facebook now, Facebook is mapped with this IP address. Okay, if I ping YouTube, YouTube is mapped with another IP 172.217.160.209. Okay, whereas this was different IP, so don't think they are same. It is 166 and this is 160. Okay, let's ping yahoo.com. So you will observe every domain name is being mapped with different IPs. Okay, and that is process of DNS. Why do we use DNS first of all? Because I have just shown you the four example: Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Yahoo. Can anyone tell me what was the IP address of Google? Can you remember? I just showed you two seconds back, or might be 5-10 seconds back. But any one of you remember what was the IP? Even I don't remember. But I'm asking you whether you remember any IP. It is not possible, right? It is not possible for us to remember these websites on the basis of IP address. Okay, someone, if there was no concept of DNS, we should have remembered all the IPs. And how many IPs can you remember? So that is why a new concept was introduced, DNS. We started mapping these IPs with domain names. Now if I ask you what are the four websites which I was trying previously, you can name them: Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Yahoo. It makes life very easier, right? But at the same time, if I ask you the IP, will you remember? No, you will not remember, right? So this is only the purpose why DNS was introduced. DNS is nothing but mapping of domain names with IP, or you can say mapping of IPs to the domain name. Okay. So why do we need DNS? Say for example, when I open up my browser, okay, what normally I do? Do I type a IP address of Google? Do I remember? No, I don't remember, right? So this is what something I remember always, okay? Or I can go with Facebook, or I can go with YouTube. Easier for me to remember. But same time I can't remember their IP addresses, right? So what happens now is, if I type google.com, it will start redirecting to that IP address. Okay, it is not so much visible to our bare eyes, but in the background, the browser is translating this google.com to an IP address. And what IP address? We just did that. Okay, it is trying to, okay, say for example this is google.com. It is trying to redirect, or it is trying what is the IP mapped with Google. So what are the steps? Where do it gets an IP address? Say for example, if I disconnect from internet now, will this get still translated, or will it still know what is the IP behind this? If I just disconnect from internet, and if I open up my CMD, and if I do ping google.com, will still I get a IP address? No, I will not get an IP address, because there are some field. Okay, I mean to say, there are some path. Okay, there are some path where the DNS will find the information. Okay, and that path we are going to see now. Okay, so once the DNS process start, you know what is DNS. When you enter google.com, it starts looking for an IP address. Okay, so the first path it will look is within your host file. And where is this host file stored? It is in your what do you say, in your C drive. Okay, so let me go there, I'll show you. So under this, if you go to Windows, okay, let me see the path. Okay, host file path, so it will be within this. So let me copy this. Okay, so this is the first file. If you open this, this is the file where the first DNS query will be sent. If you have typed google.com redirects to, or is mapped with this, that means on the first hit, even if you remove the internet, it will know that Google is mapped with this. But we usually don't do that, because we need internet, then only the real Google will load, right? So we don't save anything. Okay, we save sometimes when we are doing some activity like FQDN activity or domain name activity, and we don't need internet. In that case, we don't want to type the whole IP address, right? So we can map in that case. Say for example, I am doing a project work called xyz.com. Okay, and I'm mapping it with my IP address. Okay, so for this I don't need internet. In this scenario, I can do this and save it. The all my web pages will be within my laptop locally. Okay, so in that case this will work. But for Google is somewhere in internet. What is the point I am doing this? Because even if I do this, my Google will not load on my laptop, right? Because I need internet. So we are not going to save anything for any public website. Only if you have some project where internet is not required and you need a domain name instead of IP, you can make use of host file. My point is to tell you, the first step for a DNS is it will check the host file. Okay, host file of your laptop locally. Okay, what is the next second step? If there is nothing saved, I just showed you there was nothing saved in your host file, right? Now it will go and check the local DNS server. Who is your local DNS server? It is your Wi-Fi modem. Okay, your Wi-Fi modem will see, or your local DNS server will be stored with some information. Okay, it will know, it will know which domain is mapped with which IP. Okay, say for example there is no such information in your local DNS server. Now, your local DNS server is going to take the accountability until you get the IP address of any domain. Okay. Say, for example, you type google.com, and these are the steps what is happening. First, google.com try to resolve by checking the host, then your modem. Now, modem also doesn't know what is the IP address, so it is going to send your request to the resource record, okay, which is in the online, which is online, okay, which and then it also doesn't have any information. The same information will be sent to the root DNS server, which is again online. There are like 13 servers, okay, which will have pretty much lot of information. Okay, say for example you typed some domain name which is not even present in the root DNS server. Now your local DNS server who is taking the accountability will send that information to TLD server. Okay, who are TLD? So basically it is .com, okay, or say .net or .in. Okay, so these are called TLDs. So if you're typing google.com, so basically that will go to .com TLD server. Okay, now what TLD DNS will do is it will send this request to to the name servers, okay, to their name servers. Okay, so you might have seen this kind of name server, say for example ns1 google.com, okay, ns2 google.com. So these are some name servers for Google. Okay, so similar way everyone has their own name server, and name server will have all the informations. Okay, and once your DNS query hits the name server, it is going to say that your IP or your query for google.com is being mapped to IP address of this. Okay, now this information will be taken back to you, that is your browser. Okay, and your browser will keep a cache memory. It will say google.com is mapped to this one. Okay, so next time, this is a one time process. Next time, after 1 day, after 2 days, if you come back and if you're typing google.com, all these steps don't happen because it is cached in your browser. Okay, so it knows what is google.com and what is the IP associated with google.com. So these are few steps which happens in the DNS queries. Okay, okay, so this is something which is not visible uh, when we when we when we do a Google search or when we type any website, but in the background all these things happens. Okay, and say why told you, when there is no internet for public website, there is no you don't get anything, right? Because after this step, it's all intervention of internet, right? Your queries for any public website will first hit the host file will not have any information. Okay, you can save information, but for public website you need internet. Then it will go to modem, and modem, in case if your internet is down, it will not go to the next step. That is why your website will also not load, and if you're trying a website for the first time, it will not know the IP address to which it is mapped. Okay, so these are the steps, and it get cached in your browser, and then for the next time you don't have your modem will take outside to internet, and it knows where to reach the server. Okay, so how it looks basically is, say for example, let's take this is a client. Okay, This is a client. This is your DHCP server. Okay. And this is your DNS server. Let's say this is connecting to a router. Okay. And then router is connecting to your cloud, that is your ISP. Let's say AT&T. Okay. So your client has received IP address locally from the DHCP server. It also has taken the DNS information, the DNS IP. Now you are within your system, you are typing www.youtube.com. Okay. So first thing it checks is its own host file. Okay. It checks its own host file to find the IP associated with YouTube. Okay. So it will not have anything because it's an internet facing website. Now what happens? Your query will be taken to the DNS server. Okay. This is called as local DNS server. In this case, local DNS server will take the accountability. First, it will check the information within itself. Now, if it doesn't have any information, it will take the accountability. It will pass that information to your internet router, and then it will be going to the internet facing side. Now it will see all the things like it. Say for example, I say resource record is a server which is located in somewhere. Okay. Then you have something called root DNS server. Okay. So basically there are 13 such server whole worldwide. Okay. So this DNS server is taking the accountability. Okay. And once it has that information, it will be sent to this will send to this, and then your browser will know where is YouTube actually located. Okay. Now when that information, or when YouTube is getting resolved on this. Okay. Now what happens? The next packet is all purely routing. That is, it will go to your internet router, internet, and from internet, imagine the packet is towards this. Okay. To reach YouTube, which is somewhere in US. Okay. Now this will be cut down because we are not looking for DNS query. That is what I'm telling. DNS is somewhere and YouTube server is somewhere. Right. So the next packet will be over internet directly toward US server. Okay. And US server will respond back towards it's all routing. Okay. Because you now know what is the IP associated that has been given. So these are different groups, and and the YouTube server is somewhere located different, right? So understand that concept. Okay. So there is no lab for DNS. So if you have any query, you can ask me, and we are good to proceed.